Welcome to What's Growing at CMC, the weekly segment where I, Daniel,
and I, Talasha, share with you about some of what God is growing here at College Mennonite Church.
Being a pastor in this congregation can be a funny thing.
Our worship services have been broadly available live through Greencroft, the GC radio station, and live streaming for a long time.
So, there are often people who join College Mennonite that we've never met.
Sometimes they join us for a phase of their lives when worshiping with their church community isn't an option for them.
Sometimes they join virtually for a while before coming here in person.
We are very glad to be here for people in the midst of disruptions in their lives, or simply when they are needing a worshiping community.
It also makes for some fun and interesting encounters.
In public spaces, complete strangers will tell us that they enjoyed our sermon the other week.
Or ask us why we've made a small change to the order of worship.
Or ask us who that youth was leading worship on a very specific date.
Most people very kindly tell us who they are and why they know us, but we don't know them.
These encounters always make me smile.
And they remind us that God is up to things that we don't even know about.
Speaking of people who join virtually, Jonathan, Krista, and Kiara continue to be part of our church from afar.
They've settled in well in Idaho.
Jonathan frequently sends us his worship art.
We'll share his pictures of his creations from the last 2 weeks at the end of this segment.
The Angel Tree Ministry Group wants to say thank you.
Less than a week after they asked you to help make Christmas special for the children of incarcerated parents, all of the 65 requests were met.
Thank you all for stepping up.
If you want another Christmas shopping project, check out the Encircling Exchange Board.
There are lots of ideas of ways that you can help welcome the many refugees finding their way to our church.
And if you find yourself ready to clear things out of your house and take them to the depot, check with Madeline before you take those things anywhere.
They just might be able to find a new home with a family from our church.
The winter solstice is coming up on December 21st.
It's the longest night of the year, and people in the northern hemisphere wait for the dawn in many different ways.
Here at CMC, we have a longest night service. And this year, it will be held on Wednesday, December 22nd.
This is a gathering for those who are carrying pain and loss.
Often, these losses make it hard to engage in the joyful celebrations of Christmas.
This is also a gathering for grieving, with the many in our midst and around the world who suffer.
The service will be quiet and will include opportunities for rituals of candle lighting and anointing.
Come to the church at 6:30 next Wednesday to sit in candlelight and reflect on the coming light of the world.
Guess what? The Christmas pageant is this Sunday.
This year's pageant will be very similar to what we've done for the past 5-6 years.
Our Christmas band is practicing away, working on a mix of songs from the traditions of all in our congregation.
Come early to pick out your costume in the hallway.
Then be ready to play your role telling the story.
If you're new to our congregation, this pageant might sound a little nuts.
But trust us, it's fun and joyful and meaningful. And all you have to do is be able to follow a few directions.
This week's Advent word is love. And I'm confident that God's love will abound as we join in telling the miraculous story of love incarnate.
So there's the pageant, and then the longest night service, and then the Christmas Eve service.
December 24th, Christmas Eve at 7:30 p.m.
This service will be lessons and carols, very similar to Christmas Eve services of the past.
We will be gone next week, but Brooks has What's Growing all taken care of.
He's been collecting our bloopers all year.
So, tune in next week for a good laugh at our expense.
We'll take a week off from this segment on December 29, but we'll be back with you again in January.
This is a full season.
Take a breath. Make room for God's joy to break in. And remember,
God was, God is, and God will be.
Thanks be to God.
Planting and hoeing, there's something showing, popping up through the sod. The Spirit's blowing, new life we're knowing, giving and growing in the garden of God. Reaping and sowing, planting and hoeing, there's something showing, popping up through the sod. The Spirit's blowing, new life we're knowing, giving and growing in the garden of God. Reaping and sowing, planting and hoeing, there's something showing, popping up through the sod. The Spirit's blowing, new life we're knowing, giving and growing in the garden of God.